Well, good evening. It's Monday night. It's another housing market report. This is your live weekly dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker. We talk about all things housing market, real estate, all of that fun stuff. So 75 housing markets have shifted over to a buyer's market. So this is good news for a lot of buyers out there. Where are those markets? We're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about a bunch of other things too. So stay tuned. So I hope you stay for the whole live stream. I do want to say I do have a poll like I do every week. We have a new poll this week. And the question is, what's your biggest fear about the current housing market? Is it a market crash, losing home value, buying at the peak, or being stuck with high payments? All right. So if you're just chiming in, do me a favor, answer that poll. I want to know. I'm curious. All right. What else do we got going on, guys? So some wins. Had a big win on Friday. My amazing clients, my partner Stella and I, our amazing clients, Mark and Eric, closed on the sale of their home in Woodland Park, New Jersey. They actually came referred to us from our good friend Jen Sylvester up in Massachusetts, and we were able to get them multiple offers. We ended up with incredible buyers. We're so excited for these new buyers in their new home. And I just want to say congrats to Mark and Eric on their big win on selling their home and moving on to the next chapter of their lives. So it was a pleasure working with them. So I wanted to share that. And speaking of wins, share your wins. If you just recently went under contract, closed on a home, got your offer accepted, whatever, put it in the chat. We want to celebrate it. Even though people are saying this housing market is crazy, we need to know who's succeeding out there. Share the wins, because it gives everybody out here on this live stream hope that, hey, people are still buying houses. It is happening. All right, really quick, before I get into the article, I'm doing something a little different tonight. Just want to give you like a quick housing market summary. And I like to thank my awesome producer who's on the other side of this behind the scenes, Jen. She pulled this information for me earlier today. So just I got a little summary of real estate news for the week ending today, July 14th. So as of today, mortgage rates, let's talk about that first. Mortgage rates, 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 6.84%. It's down 2 basis points from last week. 15-year fixed rate mortgage rate remains stable at 5.92%. The refinance rates are elevated. They're between 6.5% and 7%. And let's see. So we got that down in Florida. Florida, that is it just says here, Florida market trends. Florida is still seeing rising inventory. People are leaving the state. And yeah, condos are still sitting on the market. Florida's definitely, most areas of Florida are definitely in that buyer's market. Regional updates. So Metro East, Illinois, the real estate market saw significant growth in June 2025. So median home prices were $227,000. That's up 2.71% from June of last year and 10.73% from May of 2025. That's very interesting. Out in Pennsylvania, I got this information. Northampton County, a house and bath sold for $712,500, topping the list of the most expensive residential sales in the county for the week of July 7th through the 13th. Here in the Garden State in Union County, the median sale for the week of July 7th through 13th was a 1,621 square foot home in Garwood. It sold for $592,250. So the prices are still elevated in Jersey. So Aspen, Colorado, they had two properties sold for $450,000, and that was marking the lowest sales for the week. So yes, I mean those are just some little quick summary updates for you on what's going on around the market. And then let's get to our article. Okay. What do we got here, guys? Where is it? Here we go. So let's see the 75 housing markets. Let me make this a little bigger for you all, because if you're like me, I have a hard time seeing. Anyway, these 75 housing markets hit a critical threshold in favor of home buyers. Among the nation's 200 largest housing markets, these 78 metro areas now have an active inventory above 2019 pre-pandemic levels. Can you believe it? Prices aren't at pre-pandemic levels, but the inventory is getting back up there, that's a really great thing. Okay. During the pandemic housing boom from summer 2020 to spring 22, the number of active homes for sale in most housing markets plummeted as homebuyer demand quickly absorbed almost everything that came up for sale, and sellers had ultimate power. Fast forward to the current housing market, and the places where active inventory has rebounded to 2019 levels due to strained affordability suppressing buyer demand, and now the very places where home buyers have gained most power. At the end of June 2025, national active housing inventory for sale was still 11% below June 2019 levels. However, more and more regional markets are surpassing that threshold. Okay. So here's some quick numbers. In January of this year, 41 of the 200 largest metro markets were back above pre-pandemic levels. February, it was that rose to 44. March, 58. April, 69 of the 200 largest metro markets were back up above 2019 levels, and in May was 75. So this is a good sign, guys. We're getting back up there. So here is the list. What I'm going to do, I'm going to share this article. It'll be down in the description after the live stream. So if you guys want to go back and refer to this, please feel free. So it looks like, a lot of these are in the South, right? We have a lot of markets here. We have Killeen, Texas, Punta Gorda, Florida, Washington, Colorado Springs, Lakeland, Winter Haven, Florida. So a lot of these markets are down south, like Texas, Florida, a few smatterings here in Washington, Memphis, Tennessee. What else? Let's go down. Nashville, Davidson, Murfreesboro, Franklin, Tennessee. That I keep saying Tennessee surprises me that has shifted over to a buyer's market. I thought that was going to remain a hot one for a long time, but no, here we are. But again, we scroll down. A lot of these, again, down in the Sun Belt. There are a couple in California. Obviously, I'm not going to read through all the 75 markets, but you get the idea. If you go further down, we see Asheville, North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, which I've been hearing this quite a bit from people where, I've been hearing this quite a bit from people who come on here to the stream to talk about, where you guys are from. And North Carolina has definitely, I'm seeing things rise over there. And again, why? New construction, right? All these markets where they built like crazy, then they have all this inventory due to new construction. So anyway, so this, again, I'm going to put that link down below because I want you guys to be able to go back and read it. And where am I? Where'd I go? Here I am. Okay. All right. So we have a couple of questions. Lady Lives 711, opinion on the current Northern Virginia market. I don't have specifics, but what I've heard from my agent partners down in that area, in the DC area, that's starting to turn a little bit too. Now, I don't know if this has to do with all the layoffs that happened and, with all the federal layoffs. Probably, but it's definitely turning a little bit. So kind of like up here too. Jersey is starting to soften. It's been softening for a little bit. Music Doc, how are you? Can you say a few words about the DC area with everything that's happening to layoffs in the government? So, really quick, let me just see, because I don't want to keep you guys waiting, but Washington, D.C. Sorry, guys. Okay. Right now it's saying it's experiencing a mix of trends. Some areas are seeing record prices while others are facing increased inventory and slower sales. For the most part, inventory is up in the DC area. Sales are slower. And the buyer activity is subdued. Pretty much what's happening across the whole country. Like I said, I'm seeing this here in Jersey. The Northeast is starting to see this happen. So it says here, overall, the housing market is in a state of flux. So depending on the area, like again, here in Jersey, same thing. Depending on the town, depending on the county. If it's a hot area, like here, Bergen County, even Morris County. Yeah, and Passaic County, certain parts of Passaic County, certain towns, they're still really hot. Why? Because of our access to New York City. So same thing in DC. It depends, it depends on where, but some markets are going to be, some towns are going to be hotter than others. And especially if you price a house well, if a house is priced well, it shows well, you're going to get a lot of buyers. You are. So what else we got there? Hello, Dr. Corey Brown. Quick review insights on home with retention pond and backyard bordered by trees and bushes and minor erosion issue addressed by home inspector closing with these three concerns. Okay. So an erosion issue on the foundation, like was there moisture come in from that retention pond? If the home inspector, here's the thing, because we just had a home inspection last week, and if the home inspection reports, so I want to explain something to everybody. They're very scary when you first get them, because you get like a 30 to 40 page document with pictures of every little thing the home inspector sees, right? But it doesn't mean that everything they're pointing out, there's something majorly wrong with the house. So if the home inspector, so Corey, Dr. Brown, if you looked at your report and if the inspector is raising a concern where he feels, maybe you should have this evaluated further, maybe have this evaluated further than with a structural engineer, or, have somebody, a second level inspection to make sure there's no major issues happening there. If they're not recommending that, then, and if he's a trustworthy inspector, then maybe it's not something to be concerned about now. But I will say to some people, if you do have an inkling, you feel like something's wrong, you want to get a secondary look at it by a structural engineer or another expert, then do that. So if your report didn't, if they didn't like red flag that, and they said, there's minor erosion, and this is something you should look out in the future, while you're living in the house, to make sure, just be aware of this, but they don't see anything at the moment that's causing any damage, then, that's what I would do. I hope that helps. Hello, Angela. How are you? Oh my gosh. Thank you for referring Krish. We close tomorrow. Yes. Oh my God. That's right. Angela, congratulations. Thank you so much. Krish is awesome. I've known Krish for years. I'm so happy. Congratulations. Thank you, Jen. Bring that applause on. In Polk County, you got 6.6 interest. That's amazing. Go, Angela. Congratulations. I'm so happy about that. I'm so glad it worked out with Krish. And yeah, enjoy the closing tomorrow. So excited for you. Joel, I have my closing tomorrow in Lumberton. Congrats. Another one. I love it. I love this. You guys are awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. This is great. All right. So what else? That way we have questions right now. Okay. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up with you guys, like not only we have these 75 markets that we have rising inventory. Hold on one second. I wanted to show you guys this one. What's going on in Las Vegas. Oh my. Okay. So it says here, homes are flooding onto the market in Las Vegas as retirees flee the city and investors cash out. And what's funny? That first article, they didn't really mention Las Vegas. I don't recall seeing that on the list as one of the 75 markets, but this is interesting. Okay. So new home listings continue to flood the market, giving buyers more options than this time last year. And Las Vegas leads the pack. All right, this is from Realtor.com. So keep in mind these articles that I share with you. Everybody does their own analysis on the market. So Realtor.com may say one thing, the other one, Fast Company, is saying another. But this was interesting about Las Vegas. I wanted to share this with you guys. Across the United States, newly listed homes increased 6.2% from last June, according to Realtor.com. Las Vegas experienced the sharpest increase in housing inventory with a 77.6% increase year over year. Robert Little, who's been selling real estate since 2007, has seen many changes in the region over the years. He says that buyer demand in the area has mostly cooled due to higher interest rates. Additionally, many people relocating to Las Vegas are having difficulty selling their homes in other markets, which delays or prevents their ability to purchase here, further slowing down local activity. So this is having a whole ripple effect now, right? People are having a hard time selling. So another reason why these hotter markets are slowing down. Overall housing inventory increased in all four regions, with the greatest growth of home inventory found in the West, 38.3%, followed by the South, 29.4, Midwest, 21.3, and Northeast, 17.6. Look at that, guys. Northeast is catching up. It's a coming. Correction is a coming. So we have a mix of sellers make up the Las Vegas market. Little says there are a mix of sellers entering the market at the moment. A significant number of retirees choosing to move closer to family seek out cooler summer climates or transition into assisted living communities. Some older homeowners are also selling to live with relatives who can provide support. At the same time, many investors who purchased properties at lower prices in previous years are now choosing to cash out and reallocate their funds into other opportunities. What? Yes, you read that right. The fresh data from Realtor.com reveals new listings peaked in April and have declined in each of the last 2 months, a sign that listing momentum is slowing and potential sellers pull back from the market. The increase in home listings is largely due to a slowdown in buyer demand driven by higher interest rates that have impacted affordability. But he explains his clients are adjusting, with some sellers altering expectations, offering concessions like closing cost assistance, and being open to price negotiations. Others are holding firm on price, anticipating market conditions to improve. We're also seeing some price reductions from motivated sellers who understand the importance of staying competitive in a shifting market. So this says here, Las Vegas's inventory increase isn't isolated. Here we go. Those of you who asked about Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. saw a 63.6% growth in the inventory in June compared to a year ago. Raleigh, North Carolina, 56.4, follows right behind. Across the U.S., the number of active inventory was over 1 million for the second consecutive month. So this, guys, this is like, I'm glad. I'm glad to see this. I got to tell you, I'm not sad about it. Look, I don't think we're crashing. This is bound to happen, right? This is definitely a correction. So just really quick, I just want to add this here. So the allure of the Las Vegas Strip is what the city is known for. Casinos generate billions of dollars in revenue, boosting the city's economy, but the cash hasn't been flowing as in the past. The Nevada Gaming Control Board's 2024 fiscal year report revealed a record $31.5 billion in revenue overall, but net income dropped 24.4%, including a 40.4% drop on the Las Vegas Strip. That's a lot. The total revenue is defined by the money spent by patrons in gaming, rooms, food, beverage, and other attractions. Net income is what casinos make after expenses have been paid, but before deducting federal income taxes and accounting for extraordinary expenses. The gaming slowdown doesn't appear to be the main factor causing more homes to sit longer. The Las Vegas gaming market fluctuations have not significantly impacted our home prices. Las Vegas has evolved into a more diversified economy over the years and is no longer solely dependent on gaming. So that was interesting. I wanted to bring that up too. So Vegas is definitely seeing the shift. And I think we're all here for it. But the interesting thing is talking about the retirees. They wanted to get to a warmer climate. And I'm hearing this a lot. And I hear about this a lot of people from Jersey who moved down to Florida. They want to be in a warmer climate, but then you know what? The grandkids are still up north, or they're back east. If they move to Arizona, now they're like, I want to be near my grandkids. I don't blame them. I understand that. That's it's important to be close by. And again, you need the support. I feel bad, but to say this, but a lot of boomers, I think they're struggling right now, and to get affordable care, like going to an assisted living, it's like super expensive. So now a lot of them are being forced to go like move in with their kids. I'm hearing this a lot. So that didn't surprise me, seeing that about Nevada, especially retirees moving out, moving back to where they were from. And I also hear the other thing too, they call them So people who move from Jersey to Florida, but then they say Florida's too hot for them and they end up in the Carolinas, they call those people halfbacks. Halfbacks because they went down, they came back halfway and settled in the Carolinas. So that's happening. Duke, any thoughts on wins at Ocean Club? I don't even know. I haven't even heard of that, to be honest with you, Zion. I apologize. I'll have to look up that one. I'm not really sure. Sorry. AJ, thanks for being here. Pittsburgh and Southwest PA is not on the 75 list. Still watching and hoping since November 2020. Pennsylvania is starting to see it. Well, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. It's gonna take a little bit of time. The reason why the South and Southwest is having now they're seeing it more is because of all the homes for sale. Think of all the new home communities that were built. That's what's impacting the rise in inventory. And yeah, people do want to sell too. So now you have people like, okay, I'm ready to sell. Add that's causing an increase in inventory. Here in the Northeast, where we don't have as much land, we don't have as much new construction. We hardly have any new construction. Like little pockets here and there, not like what you're seeing in the South. And that's what's contributing to it. But PA will be there too. I just think it will. Joel, forgot to say interest is 6.625 FHA. Bobby's around Lumberton. I'm not 100% on Lumberton, to be honest with you. I do have referral partners down there, but I mean, listen, I think that rate, that's really awesome. And FHA, good for you, Joel. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, 90. Speaking of Vegas, how are you? Thanks for being here. It's so good to have you. Oh my God. Ivan, Tri-Cities, Washington is on the list of 75 on pre-pandemic list. I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy for you. I had a few people in the past couple of weeks that were looking to buy. They're looking for agents to help them buy in Tri-Cities. So now's your opportunity. Boss Moses, property taxes are evil. How can we really own our home if we have to pay ever increasing rent to the government forever? I hear you. I hear you with that one. And now taxes are going up even higher. So guys, get ready for the video I'm posting on Wednesday. Is talking about how Americans are struggling to make their mortgage payments because of the rise in their escrow accounts. So I'm going to bring this up right now. You'll see it in my video on Wednesday. If you're buying a house, ask the lender if they can explain to you the escrow analysis. So you're going to get an escrow statement every year showing you how much is in your, so the escrow account is you pay your monthly mortgage, right? And your taxes and your insurance goes into your escrow account. So it's the bank then makes that payment yearly to your local government, to the town, to pay the school and property taxes, and then your homeowner's insurance. The video I'm doing on Wednesday was so some of the stuff that I'm sharing was pretty disturbing because I have an example. This one gentleman bought a brand new build. Oh my God, I forget the builder. I know it wasn't D.R. Horton. I forget that it was a big name builder. He was quoted $3,200 a month, his mortgage payment. But what did they forget to do? They forgot to properly calculate his property taxes. He bought one of the last lots in the community, and they failed to tell him what the total taxes would be. They only gave him the taxes on the land. This is what happens in new construction, and you guys got to be aware of this. They give you the mortgage payment based on taxes on the land. After a year, once more homes are built, then they come up with their assessment, and then they will have the actual number for your property taxes with the house and the land together. This guy, mortgage payment went from, I think, $3,200 to over $5,000 a month. Why? Because his property taxes ended up being $16,000 a year. Now, I thought that was completely unacceptable because They had homes already built. He was one of the last lots in the community. There was no reason why they couldn't have calculated the property taxes because they could have based it on the other comps in the neighborhood. So buyer beware when you're getting new construction. So look out for that video on Wednesday. Um, Love Bella. What are your thoughts on Hillside, Lodi, Kearney, looking around for areas that are more affordable and closer to commuting to Manhattan? So listen, this is what I tell people all the time. Go on niche.com and do your research. Okay. You're like, so what's ever important to you. So say if the schools are important to you, and a lot of people who are coming from Manhattan, they want to easy access to New York City. There are tons of towns around the area. And it's not just Bergen County. You don't have to live in Bergen County. You can go down to Essex County, you can go to Hudson County. But yeah, if you're looking for more affordable, like I don't know what your definition of affordable is, but I would tell you Bergen County, it's not that affordable anymore, but you probably could find something like you said, Kearney, Lodi is a possibility, but go on niche.com and research those towns, look at the data to get all of your information about what those towns are about, and then go take a drive through them. So I tell everybody, because my opinion of a town, like I may love a town and somebody may look at it and a buyer may be like, oh my God, I hate that. I don't like that downtown. I don't like that. So this is why I never really give opinions. I'm really not supposed to, because it's viewed as steering. I'm not going to be steering anybody. Go look at that and do your due diligence, and and just go use it as a resource. That's what I tell people. Hello, Deborah. How do you personally handle advising your client on making an offer? Do you tell them your process up front, or do you wait until they say they want to make an offer? We saw a house on Sunday, 2 hours away from home, and we really liked it. But there were other offers we found out the way home, then felt pressured to quickly decide on making an offer by 4 p.m. today. The way I handle it, and this is me. Listen, a lot of agents, everybody does their thing, and I'm not here to judge, but I just had a buyer consult on Friday, and it's exactly what I told these buyers. If we're in a multiple offer situation, this is how I handle it. We're gonna call the seller. We'll call the seller's agent. We're gonna find out what's important to that seller, and we're gonna construct our offer based on what is important. Now, yeah, price is always the number one thing, right? But sometimes the terms are as equally or if not more important. Terms meaning that, are you cash? Can you close in 45 days? Can you close in 90 days? Sometimes sellers nowadays want a longer close. So I always put that out there up front to say, if we're in this situation, this is how I'm going to go about it. And I understand you're feeling that pressure. If you're feeling the pressure and you're not feeling like, oh my God, I have to have this house, don't make an offer. Just don't. Or if you're like, yeah, I like it, but if I don't get it right now, that's okay. Sometimes it's good to put the offer in anyway. Hear me out, because what I'm seeing is a lot of times people are putting in these ridiculous offers and they're falling apart. They'll either back off, the buyer will end up backing off because they got an offer accepted on another house or whatever, they get cold feet. That happens a lot. So if you're like, say, number 3 runner up or 4 runner up, and the first couple of buyers walked away, there you go. You have an opportunity. But that's, unfortunately in this market, we are still seeing bidding wars. We just helped clients secure a house a couple weeks ago. We were up against 10 offers. We helped them get it. But they knew what they were getting into. My clients knew that the area was hot. They knew this house was a hot house. They knew what they were getting into. So you gotta kind of have that mindset going into it. But ask your agent, how are we going to approach this? And here's another thing I will say too. I never, ever, ever tell my client to waive the home inspection. We limit home inspections. I know I say this every week. Do I sound like a broken record? I feel like I do. So sorry. Never waive that home inspection. So those are things I tell my buyers too. Appraisal gaps, sellers are asking for buyers to show that they can cover the gap. So say if you went over asking and the house does not appraise at the purchase price, are you going to be able to cover the gap between the appraised value and the purchase price? That's a common thing. I mean, I say all of this upfront to my clients, like this is what's expected when we're in a bidding war. And if they don't want to do it, I'm not forcing them to do it. If, then if it's not for you, then let's wait it out. Let's look at a house that's been on the market for a couple of weeks and there was no multiple offers. It's a little less stressful and, you might be able to get a better deal. So, all right. Allegra, you're an escrow. Congratulations. 11% below asking, 250. Oh, get out. Get out. That's amazing. Good for you. I love that. Yay. Come on, bring it on, Jen. Bring it on. All right, what else do we got? I just love you guys. I love this so much. Hello, Clark. What's up, my friend? How have you been? I'm glad you're here. Hi, Miss H. Welcome back. With all the new homes on the market and people wanting to sell older homes, some builders are putting out not so good inventory. Do you think it would be good to look at older homes well built? That is up to you. But yeah, considering what I'm seeing out there and what I'm watching, oh my God, somebody just sent me a link to a YouTube video to another DR Horton video. Oh my God. My God. I might have to do another video about I don't mean to rip apart DR Horton, but I just want to make people aware. But yeah, it's good to look at older homes. Now, if they're not renovated, Miss H, then that's something you got to take into consideration. If you want to make it your own and you have to make some renovations, it's going to cost you. But if you want something that's well built, then you're probably better off going with an older house because some of these newer homes, oh my God. Yeah. No, thank you. Hamden, Connecticut, our tax bills haven't even been sent out yet, and they're due August 1st. We are all bracing because the town just did a reassessment. Oh my God. I hope it's not that bad. My town's being reassessed as well. That's coming up too. I think our bills are due in September. So we're going to be getting ours as well. On my other property in Delaware too, they reassessed that too. It's ridiculous. Hi, William. I see a lot of people complaining about the build quality of newer homes. Yeah, me too. Me too. I see it every day. When I research for the content that I make here, I do my research on this and I see stuff popping up all the time. I mean, it's a shame. People just bring in an outside inspector to check the house, make sure everything is good. All right, KY Yankee, we are sellers under contract. WNY had house listed for 1 week, viewed in person by over 50 qualified buyers, had 15 contracts sold cash, no inspection, no appraisal for 22.6 over asking. You go. Good for you. Good for you. Love that. Congrats. I love this stuff. I don't know. You tell me, Mark. How was Baghdad this time of year? That's a good one. I don't know. Plan on moving there? Couldn't tell you. Paper Roses. I wanted to make an offer on a house. An agent tells me that how would you feel if you were the seller? Because he wants to max me out of the total of the pre-approval letter so he can stop. Are you serious? So just playing devil's advocate here. So if the house just came on the market brand new, like it's just like days on the market, if you are going to go in under ask, more than likely it's not going to get accepted. Sellers are not even going to consider it. I hope that's where your agent was coming from and not telling you to go what your total pre-approval is. Like, no, that's not good. Hello, Tony C. from South Jersey. Thanks for being here. Love having South Jersey in the house. I'll be in South Jersey next week. Can't wait. Question. I would not do it, but if you buy a house with cash and pay 50,000 over asking, in reality, you basically took out a mortgage and pay most of the interest up front. Um, if you buy a house with cash, you pay 50,000 over asking. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, AJ. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're paying cash, it's cash. You basically took a mortgage to pay and you pay most of it. No, I don't view that like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I may be misunderstanding here. I'm not 100% sorry. Love to hear Nashville has shifted. I miss my second home. How soon can I sell my current home to blow this possible state called Alabama? Listen, you can sell it whenever you want. Whenever you want. If the time is right for you, please, remember that. Don't time the market. Don't. If it's time for you to move on and, life is telling you it's time to move on and you got to get something else, go sell it. Just make sure you price it correctly, right? Don't overprice it and it'll sell. It will sell. Should an agent be aware of a buyer's pre-approval limit? Yes. Yes, we can. But here's the thing. Now, when people tell me they show me their pre-approval, this is what we're approved for, but I don't want to spend that amount, then that's the price point we're going to stick with. So if somebody's approved for like 800,000, but like, I don't want to spend more than 6, that's fine. That's fine. And those are the homes we will look for. Um, and I tell people that all the time. You heard me say this on my videos. You don't have to spend the entire amount that you don't have to go that max of what you're pre-approved for. And I don't recommend that. A lot of people did that, and you know where that's leading them right now. I was looking to purchase land in Birmingham. What are pros and cons? You speak up buying land. Okay. So if you're buying it to build, if you're going to build, I'm assuming you're going to build a house on it. Just make sure you get a good reputable builder. Find out what the costs are going to be. Find out if it's connected to sewer, because then you got to pay for that. You got to pay to get the electricity to that lot of land. There's a lot of components you have to consider when you're going to be building on a lot of land. I don't think it's a bad idea, but just be aware of all the extra costs that are involved besides just building the house. All right, what else? If you pay cash, you don't pay over asking. Yeah, they do. People pay. I had it. I had somebody come in way over ask a cash offer. They do it. They do it. As in the bidding war, they do. You buy a house, pay cash plus 50 over asking versus taking a mortgage out and paying the interest you pay way more for the house anyways, paying cash or paying all the interest on the mortgage. Okay, I think I understand what you're saying now. No, because if you're not taking out a mortgage, you're not paying that interest. Because think about it, over 30 years, that interest amount over 30 years, it's a lot of money. Like by the end of the time you're paying your loan, oh my God. So say you spent 700,000 on a house. I mean, with over 30 years, that could be like, I don't know, up to like another, I don't know, 100,000 over an interest. I'm bad at math, but over the 30 years, it adds up and it is going to be way more than what the original purchase price was. Will sellers give you a breakdown of their housing costs besides taxes, electric, cable, landscaping? Yeah, you can ask for it. Absolutely. Yep, JM, you can totally ask the listing agent to provide that, to see if the sellers will provide that. Yeah, you can always, and I recommend asking for it. So this is another thing people are struggling to afford because they didn't take into account how expensive it'd be to run a larger home, maintain a home, right? Especially those who are coming from apartments. It's a shock to them. So definitely ask the sellers for that. Absolutely. We totally do that. William, my wife won't help with mortgage if my parents are involved, but if I don't accept the 200,000 from them, she would help with the mortgage. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you, William. I mean, that's not I don't think that's my place to say, but I don't know. That's something you gotta weigh out all the pros and cons on that one. Um, let me see. Are the people moving from Florida responsible for the high prices in the Northeast? No. No, the high prices in Northeast is because of the low inventory we've had. There's been a lot of demand, right? Especially those areas near big cities, and there's just not enough houses. That's what's caused the higher prices. And, like here in Jersey and Connecticut, Southern New York, we had the New York City migration. That's what caused a lot of the rising prices up here. It's not Florida. I'm a buyer in North Jersey. I'm really worried about buying at peak. Would you recommend to wait with purchase a house or close this month? All right. North Jersey, listen, I can't, again, don't time the market. I can't tell you when to buy, but um, North Jersey, it's starting to slow down. Prices are still elevated. In some markets, again, like I said before, you're still going to see some bidding wars. Prices will still continue to rise. But that's not to say, something can happen tomorrow and then like we'll have a major correction, right? Again, don't time it. If the timing is right for you, then now's the time to buy. Okay. And people are worried about this, and I get it. That's why I put this poll out here tonight. I understand you're worried about that. But listen, real estate is long term. If you're buying a house, you're living in this for a long time, the market is going to fluctuate. It's going to ebb and flow. But eventually, over time, it's going to appreciate in value. All right. So do not look at your house. Look at your house like it's the stock market, because it is not. It's far from it. So look, that is up to you with figure out your timing, your financial situation, and whether or not it's the right move to do that now. Jonia, I hope Jonia, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Just closed on a single home purchase in San Bernardino County, California. Congratulations. Another win. I love that. Love it, love it. What else we got, Jen? My home is San Diego, is going on the market this Friday. I'll be heading to New England area to purchase a home. I'll rent first while I search for a home. Good for you. Highly recommend that. This is so funny. I was having a conversation with my bestie, who's behind the scenes right now. She has a friend who is going to be relocating. They just sold their house. They're under contract. And, we were talking about they should really consider renting first to get a feel for the area. And look, do with what you will if with this information, but I think renting and it is the best thing you can do if you're moving to a new area and you're not familiar with it. Because people will go buy a house. This happened during the pandemic. People were buying houses sight unseen. They were doing virtual tours with the realtors, and then they would show up and live there and then decide, you know what? Yeah, this location sucks. I don't like this town. The schools aren't that great. And they regret it. And now they're trying to sell the house, right? So renting, what you're doing is the right thing, in my opinion. So I think that was good. Do you still see higher demand in townhouses in Bergen County? Yes, Daniel, I do. I cannot believe what townhomes are selling for. What happened? We're talking upwards $700,000-$800,000 for townhouses here. And I'm not talking new construction either. These are townhomes that have been around for 30 years, 20 years. It's ridiculous. So notice lots of sellers are overpriced and selling as is today. Found a house, but someone drove through the back garage. Drove through back garage and big beautiful house. Oh my God. Ugh. Well, that's not good. I don't like that. All right. So really quick, guys. I don't know what I did with it. Bear with me. I had something I wanted to share on the screen today. And of course, I forgot to put it up there because I got distracted with real estate stuff before I got on here. So as you know, I have my community page, and I encourage everybody to go out there. If you have questions for me, or if you just want to share anything, whatever's going on in your world, if you're buying or selling, please post it on the community. But I wanted to share this question that came, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was good to share. So I apologize. I can't put it up on the screen. I forgot to upload it onto my my streaming software here. So the question I got says, "Hi Jackie, we're looking to buy a second home in another state. My realtor in the other state has sent me her preferred lender. What is the benefit to using a local preferred lender? Is it so they're familiar with the area and the appraisal process might go better? Is there a downside to using the current lender for our mortgage on our primary residence? I guess we could always just compare the rates." So this person's asking, should we, this I get this a lot where the realtors will say, "You know what? It's better if you use our local lender," because exactly what she's saying, because the lenders are familiar with the local market and the appraisers too. They were working with local appraisers. Let me tell you a little story. So a few years ago, I had a buyer using an online lender. It wasn't Rocket Mortgage. It was actually another one. I don't even think it's in existence anymore. I think they got bought out by another bank. They had an appraiser that wasn't from North Jersey. It's from 2 hours away from South Jersey. Did not know this area at all. And of course, the house underappraised. When we looked at the comps, I said, "Are you freaking kidding me? Why the hell did you pull these houses?" They weren't even in the same town. They did an awful job. My client had to go back and fight it. He was able to get the appraisal up a little bit more, but it should have been appraised at the purchase price. At 1,000,000%, and I, like, swore up and down, and I even sent the guy comps. I couldn't believe it. So, if you're buying out of state and your realtor says, "Let's go with, I recommend my lender," and look, and if you have your own lender that you deal with, that's okay too. Okay? It's gonna be a little bit more work on your lender's part, to prove to the realtor in that market that, yeah, we're good, they're licensed. That's the other thing, make sure your lender's licensed in the state that you're moving to. Not like, not every lender is licensed in every state. So you can use your lender, but it is easier in the process as far as, the appraisal, that local lender, knowing the local market. But bottom line now, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Bottom line, shop out your rates. Okay. Always shop out your rates, but ask the questions like, where is the appraiser from? Are they familiar with the market there? I'm telling you, when that happened that one time to my buyer, I wanted to flip out. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Why did they pick this person from that far away to come up here to North Jersey to do an appraisal? He knew nothing about our market. So anyway, Jen, what else we got? We got more people here. Grace says, use mortgage calculator, 700K house, down payment 20%, pay off in 30 years. You would have paid a total of $1,459,368 with 6.875%. Grace, thank you for doing that. See, I suck at math, but thank God for my viewers to for my viewers to step in and cover for me. You guys are great. Forgot to tell you, my husband passed his realtor exam. Congrats! That's amazing. Oh my God. Good luck. Good luck. Randy Brandy, I have a question. I'm a 28-year-old male, stable income. I make 90 a year. My wife makes the same. Why had the funds to purchase a house? But what should we do in this uncertain market in Florida? Well, listen, if you're looking to buy in Florida, you have the upper hand right now. You have leverage. So if I know you're nervous about it, but like I said, the market turns around. It's not like, look, Florida's softening right now, but it doesn't mean it's going to be like in the toilet. It may go through a little bit more of a correction, but down the road, like I said, real estate, it does come back. All right. It's not going to appreciate like we saw in the last 5 years. We're not going to see crazy things like that again, but it will appreciate over time. So if you are looking to buy, if this is right for you, you have all your ducks in a row financially, then, you can go for it, but you're in a good position because there's a lot to choose from in Florida. So you can ask for the seller's concessions. You can ask for assistance on closing cost. So just get aligned with a good real estate agent and a lender. MH08, how are you? Had a question for you last night at Clark. Now, You and Clark, I don't remember what it was. Well, come on. Come on, remember it. It's okay. Something similar happened to me. My real estate agent told me to instead get pre-qualified by a local lender. Yeah. Yep. It just makes life easier. And listen, we don't get kickbacks from the lenders. I'm just putting that out there to you too. We get nothing. Trust me. The reason I refer the lenders that I've worked with is because if I have past clients that had such a great experience, that's when I refer them. If I ever get a bad, if somebody gives a bad review on any of my lenders, I'll think twice about referring them again. I mean, so far, 10 years, I've had good experiences with the lenders that I recommend. Okay, Kayshandra. Kayshandra Janae. Oh, I love your name. It's so pretty. Do you know the differences between Utah and Texas and why the prices are so much higher than Texas? So why they're higher in Utah? I hear Utah is becoming pretty freaking popular. I think a lot of people from California are now moving there. So I think there's just a lot of demand in Utah, and that's why the prices are increasing. That's my guess. I don't sell in that market. I don't like do a lot of research in that market, but I have heard there's a California influx in Utah too. Maybe I'll remember what it was by next week. I hope so. Write it down when you remember it. Yes, Betsy, hit the like. Thank you guys so much. All right. We got some more. AJ, buying a new construction, should rates go down or should I lock at 6.25? I don't want to tell you what to do, but that's a really good rate. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I think that's really good. Listen, we are looking at 2 rate cuts on the federal fund rate. How that's going to impact the mortgage rates, I don't know. People still think that that's going to correlate to the mortgage interest rates. It doesn't directly correlate to mortgage interest rates. It's from the 10-year Treasury yield. That's what causes the mortgage rates to go up or down. If you got 6.25, I think I would lock. That's me. So see what the lender says too. Thank you so much. We've been on the fence about buying for a while. We're just scared with this market. I get it, Randy. I totally get it, but I look at it as opportunity. If you're in a situation, it's a buyer's market, it's an opportunity. At least you're not competing against people and having bidding wars. Think of it that way. To add what Grace said, over 30 years, you would pay over $818,000 in interest, paying $50,000 cash over asking. Isn't that bad after all? Thank you, JM. You're right. St. George, Utah is beautiful and now expensive. Yes, St. George, that is the area, MH, that has become very popular. Yep. So I'm not surprised. They're having the Olympics there. Yes, they are. All right. What else? Hate to be a party pooper, but I don't think a 20% downward correction is unrealistic in the next 2 years. Lots of people are already underwater. Listen, Oscar, I don't think you're a party pooper. Listen, anything is possible. Are people underwater? Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because what I said before, the rising property taxes. That's what's killing everybody right now. I mean, most people. But listen, we don't want to see a crash. Believe me, you don't want to have that happen again. But how do I find out the insurance information of a home inspector in Indiana? I need to file a claim about my heat pump and furnace on their insurance. I don't know. I really don't know. You got to call, you contact them directly, I guess. I'm not 100% sure. That's a good question. That's a new one for me. You're so welcome, AJ. Appreciate you being here. Stella, I have cash in a house to sell. If I took a loan, then after selling, pay off the loan, would that be smart so as to not miss the window for the sale of the house? Yeah, no, you can totally do that. A lot of people do that. So yeah, absolutely. What was the website? It's niche.com. I'm going to link that down below too. So I have to start putting that out there again on my videos. People are underwater because they FOMO'd. Unfortunately, a lot of people did. There were a lot of people that were just like, interest rates are low. I'm gonna go buy a house. Yep. Yep. Ask the state Indiana Insurance Board. Thank you, Paper Roses, for answering that question. All right. So where are we, guys? Okay, we got a few more minutes to go. There's one more thing. Please hold. So I found this one on Market Watch. It's another publication I like to read a lot. Housing market is sending a stark warning to the U.S. economy. This is from Moody's economist. So to answer the statement before, Oscar saying that, he thinks there's going to be 20% downward trend. Listen, anything's possible. So what they say here is from Moody's, 7% mortgage rates are slowing home sales, home building, and home price growth, which would soon turn into a full-blown headwind for the U.S., economist warns. Is the housing market about to stall the American economy? One economist seems to think so, and he blames high mortgage rates. With home sales sluggish and home building and house prices poised to plummet too, Mark Zandi, the chief economist of Moody's Analytics, says he's sending up a red flare about the state of the housing market. Housing will soon be a full-blown headwind to broader economic growth, adding to the growing list of reasons to be worried about the economy's prospects later this year and early next. Home sales have been depressed over the last few years as high prices and interest rates have made the market too expensive for many buyers. For the same reason, homeowners with ultra-low mortgage rates have also found little incentive to move. He says here, home sales, home building, and even house prices are set to slump unless mortgage rates decline materially from the current 7% soon. That, however, seems unlikely. In his call for lower mortgage rates, Zandi joins Bill Pulte, the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency. Pulte has been pushing for the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, which he says will make housing more affordable. Pulte has criticized Fed Chair Jerome Powell, saying in his post that Powell is doing a great injustice to this country. Mortgage rates, however, didn't I just say this? Don't directly follow the direction of the Fed's benchmark rate. Rather, they tend to move in tandem with the yield on the 10-year Treasury note. 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaged 6.83% as of Monday afternoon, according to Mortgage News Daily. If a buyer is looking to add a $425,000 home, putting 10% down, that translates roughly to a $2,900 a month in mortgage payments. Even as supply increases, with more homes being listed for sale, buyers remain uninterested. Home sellers are cutting prices to lure buyers, taking a page out of home builders' playbook. Builders are also offering price cuts to sell homes on top of their sales incentives. But even builders are now giving up on incentives like rate buy downs because it's simply too expensive. A big tell is that many builders are delaying their land purchases from the land banks. New home sales starts and completions will soon fall. This slowdown is going to affect people who aren't currently buying or selling a home as well. This year, home prices are expected to grow at the slowest pace in 14 years, according to a July note from Goldman Sachs, as the housing market continues to be bogged down by affordability constraints. Home prices nationally are expected to grow 0.5% in 25 and 1.2% the following year. That's a huge drop from the growth the market saw during the pandemic, as seen in the chart below. Okay, look, I just want to chime in here. 1.2% increase next year. And you're comparing it to the pandemic. The pandemic was an anomaly. That was an anomaly. That was just, we will never see that again. You're never going to see prices skyrocket the way that did during the pandemic because of the low interest rates. Okay. I understand what, they're saying, oh, this is a big concern. It's a big concern. Is that, listen, it's going to be a little while before we rebound back to like a normal appreciation, right? So like I since I've been in real estate, normal appreciation here in Jersey has been around 4%, right? Home values appreciate annually, about 4%. So 1.2% next year, I mean, compared to to what we've had, with these, the rising with the rising prices, to me, we're getting back to a normal trend. That's where we should be. And I want to make a note here. They keep saying that Jerome Powell is is the reason why the housing market is, it's the way it is because he won't cut the interest rates. You just saw it right there in that article. The Fed fund rate does not directly correlate to the mortgage interest rate. And I'm going to say this till the cows come home. If you drop those rates down again to say 4 or 3% like we did in the pandemic, what in the heck is going to happen? Prices are going to go back up again because people are going to jump back into the market and flood the market. And then you're going to have the low inventory areas, the prices are just going to skyrocket again. So I don't understand why everyone keeps saying that Jerome Powell is the reason why the housing market is the way it is. No, we have no inventory. We've had an inventory issue since the great financial crisis. The builders stopped building in 2008. They lost their shirts. They left the industry. They didn't go back. And there's been a shortage of homes ever since. That's the problem. Anyway, I digress. Sorry. TM. I just got a seller's disclosure for a home that's obviously an electric water heater seen in pics, and the seller put it as oil. Get your homes inspected, folks. That's the PSA for the day. Thank you, TM. Appreciate that. Oh my gosh. All right. We have a couple of more questions, Jen. Here we go. Joe Jones, how are you? Do beach fees affect the housing market in New Jersey, especially in rental properties? Thank you for all your help. You were so welcome. No, no, I don't think the beach fees affect the market in New Jersey. I don't think so at all. Nope. Did my friend Thomas I referred to ever reach out to hire a seller's agent? No, he did not. I've not heard. I'm not sure. Oh, no. I did hear from a Thomas, but I don't know if it's the same person. I'm not 100%. No, this is right up the seller's disclosure signed by the seller. Are you for real? I get it. I know. St. George, Utah is getting popular. It's hotter than the Hades in the summer. Not understanding that one. Well, it could be housing prices too. Some people just want it. Doesn't Fed policy impact those bond rates even indirectly? They could, but people are talking like that it's directly impacting the mortgage rates, and it doesn't. Yes, can it indirectly? It can affect it, but look what happened last year. Last September, they cut when the Feds cut their rates. What happened to the mortgage rates? They went up. So that's that right there, because there was other things going on in the markets. That's why the mortgage rates went up. It had nothing to do with the federal fund rate. So what do I think will happen to home prices in Long Island? Listen, I think you're going to see the same thing happen, what we're seeing in New Jersey. I think you're going to start seeing a little softening, although Long Island has been very hot because, again, New York City migration. So you're going to, you probably will eventually see what we're seeing here in North Jersey or all of Jersey, hopefully. Is there a better time of year that seems to be more of a buyer's or seller's market? That's an awesome question. Springtime, they always say spring is the best time to list your house because all the buyers are out. Everybody's looking for a house because, the nice weather. They want to be in their new home before the next school year starts. But I got to tell you something. If I was a buyer, when I would look for a house during the off seasons, I would be looking during the winter, the holidays. I helped a buyer a few years ago buy a house in December. Got a good deal on it. Why? There was hardly any other buyers to compete with. And this is during the pandemic time. This is like 3 years ago. So I think any time is a good time to buy or sell a house. Honestly, spring gets flooded with buyers and inventory. But if you're looking to buy, I don't know. I would definitely look in the wintertime too. Can a realtor ask for a retainer from you so you can sign an agreement with them for 6 months? I don't think so. I don't think we're allowed to do that. If they asked you that, I've never done that. With this new whole buyer agency agreement, I have not heard of that. I don't think you can do that. What is the market like in Union County, North Jersey right now? Depends on the town. Same thing. It's like what I just said before. If it's a hot town priced well, There are certain towns in Union that are still like selling, bidding wars. It depends on the town. Still the same. Still the same. Rising prices, bidding wars, all that stuff. Leslie says, I'm planning on listing my house in January. Should I get a referral now for a buyer's agent or is it too early? No, get a buyer's agent now. I always recommend start speaking to an agent about 6 months prior to when you want to buy or when you want to sell. Leslie, if you need one, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Link down below. I just sold my Las Vegas home in May. Did I sell it on time just before it switched over to a buyer's market? You might have. You might have. But anyway. All right. I think we're good. So guys, just a little reminder. If you need an agent in your market, please go to this website. Click this here. You're going to fill out a form. You're going to be directed to, you're going to get another email, which is going to direct you to a questionnaire. Please fill out that questionnaire. It's so super important. Whether you're going to be selling or buying a house, so important to fill that out. So I have all the right information in order to find you the right agent. And to add to that, if you are selling or buying here in New Jersey, North Jersey, I have another link very similar. Please click on that. Whether you're selling or buying, reach out to me and I will set up a Zoom consultation with you. And hopefully we can get to work together or you can work with someone on my team. Would love to help you. All right. There we go. That was it, guys. So we're getting there. So buyers are having more of an upper hand, more leverage, and let's see if it's going to hit more than 75 markets in this country. So I appreciate you all being here. Just so you know really quick, I will not be here next Monday. I am away on vacation. I will return in 2 weeks. So I hope everybody has a fabulous 2 weeks. I'll see you next time.